Welcome to Module 3 of the Right Track training webinar. This one is called the NDIS and how it works. So in this one, we're going to be discussing these 4 elements. What is the NDIS? Who is the NDIS for? How do I get the NDIS? And what do I get? So these are 4 questions, basic questions that everybody needs to know the answers to. So what is the NDIS? Well, this is quite simple. It stands for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, but what actually is it? It's a way of getting support for people living with disability and their families. Everyone gets a plan, everyone's plans and goals are different because everybody's different, as we discussed in an earlier module. It helps people to improve their living skills and to remain part of their community. Your job as a frontline worker is to help your client to connect with the partners of the NDIS, and that is Kudos Services, which looks after everybody from 0 to 6, is under the umbrella of the NDIS. They are partners with the NDIS. Ferrous Care, Mission Australia and BAPT Care are also partners with the NDIS, and they look after people who are aged from 7 to 64. So depending on where you live, depends on who will be able to look after you. Ferrous Care, for instance, where I live, looks after the north. And above the umbrella is the National Disability Insurance Agency, which approves plans, has the funding. So who is the NDIS for? It's for people who live in Australia, who are Australian citizens, and people who are between the ages of 0 and up to 65, and that your disability, you have it for life and it impacts on everything you do every day. So what are profound and permanent disabilities? Because that is what the NDIS funds. Well, there's categories of primary disabilities, and you can see on the screen here that there are 10. Things like autism, intellectual disability, stroke, and so on. So the next question in the module is, what do I get? Well, if you're a person with disability or caring for someone with disability, you might not think that you need any support. Maybe there isn't an area of your life that you need support in, but if someone was to sit down with you and have a talk about what's important to you in your life as an individual, they might come up with something that you hadn't thought of. For instance, as an example, somebody says, I can get to the shops, I can get to school, I can do all the things that I have to do, but isn't there anything else that you would like to do? You know, something fun or something you haven't done for a long time? And one example that we heard of was the person said, hey, I love the footy. When was the last time you went to the football? Oh, ages ago. Well, if you have a support worker in an NDIS plan to support you to get to the footy, that's where you're going. And so what you get in a plan is the support that you need. You've got your plan, you've got your funding to be able to pay for that, and then you can live the life that you want to live. So as a support worker, don't forget to ask a few more questions. The person might say to you, no, I'm fine, thank you very much, and my family does this and my family does that. Just ask a few more questions. Ask them what they're interested in, and you might be surprised at what they tell you. So Frank, some of the feedback that we've had through the project is that people are confused about payments from Centrelink and the NDIS, you know, how it works. Have you found that people have been asking those sorts of questions? You know, I'm going to miss out on my carers payment if I go on the NDIS and this sort of thing?
And that's a big problem, because if they're thinking that they're going to lose their payments, well, you know, they might stop them and not accessing.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what we need to make clear to everybody is that the NDIS is not income. The funding that you get in a plan is not income that goes into your bank and that you have to report as income. So NDIS is funding for services and supports. People on Centrelink can also get the NDIS support as well, can't they?